Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Wednesday. We are halfway through the week, halfway through the final week before the Premier League season kicks off. Just 2 days away now before the game on Friday night. Couple more days to wait, of course, for Arsenal to get back into action with that trip to Old Trafford on Sunday. But Mikel Arteta will be speaking at his pre-match press conference, the first one of the new season, on Friday at London Colney, early Friday afternoon. We'll be hearing from the Arsenal manager ahead of that season opener at Old Trafford, where we'll get all the latest from him in terms of injury news, if there is any. I mean, at the moment, Arsenal are looking pretty good when it comes to injuries, which is very, very nice indeed heading into the new season, but we'll get the latest from him. A bit of a quiet one today, to be honest. I think everyone's we're in that little bit of a midweek dip as we wait towards the start of the new season. So it is a little bit quiet. So I'm going to talk about, I'm going to focus on the Old Trafford game. Yesterday we spoke about the fullbacks, and I will sort of touch on the fullbacks a little bit because I got lots of reaction from you guys to share on that. So we're going to talk about that in today's show, but also look at some of the other big decisions facing Mikel Arteta when it comes to his team selection at Old Trafford, because that team selection is going to be very, very important. I think when it drops at about 3:15 on Sunday, all eyes are going to be on that when it comes to Arsenal fans. Who's going to be up front? Who's going to be out wide? Who's going to be at fullback? There are some big decisions for Arteta to make, so we're going to talk about that in today's show. Got lots of questions I wanted to rattle through from you guys as well in today's show, so keep your eyes peeled for that at the end of it. Just quickly to flag up again, if you want to become an Inside Arsenal Patreon member, then you can do so down below. Thank you to everyone who supported the channel so far and done that. You can get the link down below, copy it into your browser, sign up, become a member, join the community direct through Patreon. Don't do it through Apple or anything like that. They had a little surcharge to do it direct through Patreon, which you can find the link to do it below. If you do that by Friday, then you can join the Inside Arsenal Members FPL League. And if you do that, then you'll be into the league for this season, and you can be with a chance of winning Manager of the Month prizes, overall prizes at the end of the season. There's also a shirt competition running for members at the moment until Friday. So if you sign up in the next couple of days, you get the chance to get into that competition to win a new shirt of your choice before the start of the new season. Thank you again to everyone who has joined up already. I really do appreciate it. Right. We're going to focus on what's going on against Manchester United now this weekend, the decisions facing Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta, by the way, has a new role. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this picture of him there. He is now, let me get this title right, and this was sort of announced yesterday at a glitzy little do in London. Simon Collins from the Evening Standard was there speaking to Arteta at this do, and Simon will be joining me later on today for the Arsenal Press Pass show, which is another thing that you get access to if you become an Inside Arsenal member. That show will be going out a little bit later on today with myself and Simon and another journalist who covers Arsenal. And he was at the event yesterday where Arteta was unveiled as Under Armour's new Director of Performance and Global Ambassador. So it's a new role for Arteta. I'm sure Adidas will be delighted with that. And he says he's going to use this new role to help what he does with Arsenal and football and learn things from other sports. You know, Under Armour are just trying to move into football, and they've got obviously big sports brand with other, you know, they've got global ambassadors and global athletes. I think Steph Curry's on their roster. You know, they're big in golf, obviously, Jordan Spieth, all that sort of lot. And Arteta wants to, and Arteta is very, very big on learning from other sports. You know, he's got a big group with NBA coaches, NFL coaches as well, that he talks to each month and to learn from and to bring new ideas to football. And he believes that this new role at Under Armour is going to help him do that as well. This was the event. There was some interesting stuff discussed at the event. So keep your eyes peeled, Inside Arsenal members, for the Press Pass show later on today, because I'll be speaking to Simon and getting his analysis on what he heard from Arteta yesterday and some interesting insights from the Arsenal manager ahead of the new season. But he has some big decisions to make when it comes to his team selection on Sunday. Absolutely no doubt about that. Probably tougher decisions than maybe he was expecting, given what has gone on so far this summer. So we're going to look at that now, and love to get your thoughts. Thank you so much for all the reaction you sent in yesterday in terms of what you should do at fullback. Appreciate that. So we're going to open it up a little bit more to the rest of the field today. And we'll start with the strikers, shall we? Now, I spoke about this a little bit last week and got aggregated up on it as usual. Whenever you say anything on this thing, you can get hit by the aggregators and taken out of context. So I think the aggregator yesterday was, I saw last week, was breaking Charles Watts convinced Kai Havertz will start as a striker at Old Trafford on Sunday, which is absolutely not what I said at the time. What I said was during the summer, as the summer's gone on, I've always been in my head thinking he's going to go. I think Havertz will probably start that game just because we know what Mikel likes to do. He likes to kind of ease some new signings in after that first international break of the season. That's when we really see him make his big changes to his starting 11. So I always had in my mind that whatever happened, whether Sesko signed this summer, whether Gyökeres signed this summer, I always felt that Havertz would probably start that game at Old Trafford. I'm not so sure now as we've got close to this. I think the little injury that Havertz suffered in pre-season has certainly opened the door for Gyökeres to go straight into the starting 11 for the starting game of the season. And then not just that, but the way he took his opportunity at the weekend in that performance against Athletic Club when he scored the goal, but also just looked an awful lot brighter. And more importantly, I think the team looked a lot brighter around him and how they used him and played to his strengths. And I think that has probably given Mikel Arteta a pretty tough decision to make. Obviously, Havertz came on and scored a brilliant goal, which makes it even more difficult for him. But, a lot of people look at it and think, why on earth wouldn't you start Gyökeres? You spent all this money on your new number 9. Of course he's going to start the new game. I've never felt it has been that simple because we know how much Arteta loves Kai Havertz. And so I just wasn't sure. And I think it's going to be really interesting. I don't know which way he's going to go with this. I have to say, I'm sure this is going to dominate quite a big part of the press conference on Friday. There's going to be a lot of talk about, do you throw Gyökeres straight in? Is he ready? Have you seen enough from him in pre-season to suggest he should be the starting striker at Old Trafford on Sunday? So I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I can see the merits to both. I think Havertz, and again, this comes back to why I always felt during the summer that Havertz would start no matter who signed, whether it be Sesko or Gyökeres, was that whole sort of better the devil you know type situation. Arsenal were going to be still adjusting to whoever they brought in the summer. They know exactly how they can play when Kai Havertz is up there. They know what his strengths are, how to play with him. He knows how to get the best out of his teammates. That's why I always felt, and I still might veer towards that. I don't know. I think right now, if you held a gun to my head and said, who do you think starts on Sunday at Old Trafford? I still think I maybe would say Arteta will pick Havertz over Gyökeres, but that's just purely opinion. No, I just don't know. But that's probably the way I would veer right now. But I think the way that Gyökeres played, and again, as I said, the way that the team played for him, the way they were finding his runs more in that game against Athletic Club, will certainly have been a bit of an eye-opener for Arteta to think, you know what, we could do. I could do this. And when you looked at some of the joy that Martinelli, for example, had running into space created by Gyökeres, again, Arteta might be looking at that, thinking, you know what, if we can play a little bit on transition against Manchester United, we can open them up a little bit and Gyökeres can drag the centre-backs out of position, drag them into that left-hand channel, and then Martinelli could maybe run through in the central areas where he could just go straight through and goal like he did for the second goal against Athletic Club. That might be the way to go. So please do give me your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Love to get them, love to read them, and I'll share some of them in tomorrow's show in terms of who should start as a striker. Would you go Gyökeres? Would you go Havertz? Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. I don't think this one is as difficult a decision. I'm pretty sure that Gabriel Martinelli is going to start on the left-hand side, but Madueke certainly maybe given Arteta a bit of a decision to make with his performances off the bench in recent weeks. Certainly the one against Athletic Club when he came on, he set up that chance for Victor Gyökeres. I still look at Madueke at the moment as more of a sort of substitute off the bench game changer as he begins to sort of bed in. He's barely had any training time with Arsenal. He's only had a couple of substitutes appearances. Whereas I wouldn't be surprised, whoever starts up front, whether it be Gyökeres or Havertz, I just won't be shocked. I think there's merit in both getting the nod at Old Trafford. I would be very surprised if it is Madueke. And I saw, again on social media, people having this debate and saying, "Oh, Madueke's done enough to start at Old Trafford." And I'm not sure that is the case. I also don't think Gabriel Martinelli played badly against Athletic Club. He got an assist for Bukayo Saka's goal. I thought, as I said earlier when talking about Gyökeres, I thought there were some really positive signs there of him moving into the space that Gyökeres can create by the way he moves over to the left-hand side. So I would be surprised if it's Madueke. I think Martinelli will get that spot. I think it will be Martinelli left, Saka right, and then one of the two strikers obviously up front. But let me know if it's if you're a different opinion of that. I don't think that's as difficult a decision as the one he's facing up front, and I certainly don't think it's as difficult decision, as the one he's facing at fullback, whether it be Timber or White at the right hand side, or whether it be Miles Lewis-Skelly and Calafiori at the on the left hand side. And we spoke about that particular decision in depth in yesterday's show and had loads of reaction to it that I'm going to move on to now. When you're talking about the fullbacks for the game against Old Trafford, Jason has got in touch on the Inside Arsenal Discord page, which again, if you're an Inside Arsenal member, you get access to the Discord community, which is really, really thriving. So much debate, loads of Arsenal chat on there, loads of you on it. It's really fun to be a part of. So thank you for making it that. And all the new members, and I've had quite a few sign up over the last 24, 48 hours or so. Get yourself over to the Discord, join in the community, because it's really, really growing. And with the season kicking off now at the weekend, I think it's going to be very, very fun on a match day, if you can't be at the match, to watch it and take part in the conversation on Discord. Jason has got in touch on that and says, "Hey, Charles, glad to have you back from holiday. On the fullback conversation, I think you start either Calafiori or White, not both. They are clearly our best attacking fullback options, but when the only real threat United can offer is counter-attacks on the wings with their new boys, you need that extra bit of defensive cover to survive those transition moments. Considering how difficult our first 6 matches are, do you think we can afford to risk increased vulnerability on the counter with the importance of leaving Old Trafford with all 3 points?" It's a very, very good point. I still probably think he's going to go White and Calafiori myself. But I think your point is very, very valid there, that they are Arsenal's most 2 attacking fullbacks there. And if you're going to play both of them together, that could well leave the centre-backs a little bit exposed. When you look at United's strengths, as you point out, with Cunha probably on one side and Mbuemo on the other, that is an area where you think they're going to look to get an awful lot of joy and to really try and hurt Arsenal. And maybe bringing in Timber either on the right, or you could even play him on the left as well, as someone is going to point out in a minute, actually, on one of your questions. Maybe that would add a little bit more defensive solidarity to Arsenal, but I still feel he's going to look at... I'm not sure Timber's 100% fit anyway, which is the most important thing. If he was, or if he is deemed 100% fit, I think he'll start. If he's not, I think White starts. And I've got a feeling that he's not going to be deemed 100% fit yet. But I just think purely out of form and what we've seen so far in the summer, I think on the left-hand side, I feel like Calafiori is probably going to get the nod over Miles, who I don't think has had the best of summers at the moment. A couple more here sort of talking about that. Simply Kells and SR Ramble. Simply Kells says, "Hope you're well, Charles. Interesting debate to have here regarding the team on Sunday. For me, I see it being White, Saliba, Gabriel and MLS starting. My reasoning behind this is 2 things. Fitness, Calafiori and Timber are both a little fragile right now, having returned from injuries recently. And I think that's why Cala has seen a lot of game time more recently, as he can be a huge impact sub despite him being a fullback. 2, Man United clearly have a point to prove after their performance last season. They have shown promising windows of explosiveness and adaptability to Amorim's tactics. So I do see Arteta starting the more defensive option in MLS for the first half, and later bringing in Cala to encourage chaos and break down United's attacking threat by increasing our own. Let's not forget the game is at Old Trafford. Frustrate them, then capitalise." And SC Ramble says, "Hi, Charles. I get the Calafiori chaos thing, but he does seem to struggle when he comes up against quick wingers. Also, while I like the way he pops up in unexpected positions, he lacks the pace required to recover defensively, which exposes teammates when facing the counter. Could we see White at right back and Timber at left back?" I don't think we'll see Timber at left back. I know he can play there. He played there against Athletic Club last week, but I think I'd be very surprised if he starts ahead of both Calafiori and Lewis-Skelly. I think it'd be one of the 2 left backs. I think it would be I can imagine the thoughts of Calafiori and certainly Lewis-Skelly if Timber suddenly gets a nod ahead of him at left back at the weekend. I'm not sure Timber's going to be deemed 100% fit. Either way, I have to say, I think Calafiori is better defensively than a lot of people give him credit for. It's definitely an area he needs to work on, no doubt about that. But I do think he is better in that area than a lot of people give him credit for. Maybe more so in the central areas, but yeah, thank you very much anyway for getting in touch and giving your thoughts on that. Appreciate them as always. Just continuing on from Calafiori, actually, Simon on the Discord says, "Would it be better utilising Calafiori as a backup centre-back only and buy another left-back? If we're using him sparingly at centre-back, it might give him a chance of being fit more often." No, not for me. I just don't want to see Arsenal sign another left back right now. I've got used to that. And it's been quite nice having a summer where we're not chasing a left back. Also, I don't think you can sign, you spent a lot of money on Calafiori, just use him basically as a sparingly at centre back for fear of being injured. It's not for me. I think this is a big season for Calafiori. I think if he repeats it injury wise and availability wise, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal try and cut their losses on him next summer. I hope that doesn't happen, because I think if he can stay fit, he's going to be a brilliant player for Arsenal. It's a big season for him. But I'm not sure Arteta's the type of manager who will look at using him sparingly for fear of injury. Anyway, I think he'll try and play him as much as possible and see how Calafiori can adapt and adjust to it. It's just it's kind of sink or swim when it comes to Premier League, and certainly under Arteta. So I'd be very surprised, I have to say, Simon. But thank you very much for your comment. Marco has got in touch on the Discord. He says he wants to talk about Premier League as a product. As I was doing my Premier League predictions, and I noticed there are a lot of clubs that either lost a couple of very important players and or have not had a significant signing. Clubs like Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace, Fulham, Newcastle, Forest, West Ham, Wolves all fall into this category. Do you think it will be a season where the top six is truly re-established, as they are the only ones who have made significant improvements in the window, and we are finally in for a more exciting relegation battle, as all of the clubs listed above have either stagnated or gotten worse in terms of a squad? I wouldn't be surprised if we see the more traditional top six up there, but I still think your likes of Villa are going to be up there again. I think Everton have done well. I think the signing of Jack Grealish is quite an interesting one for Everton. Newcastle are beginning to get themselves into gear a little bit after what's been a frustrating summer so far. Obviously, the Isak thing is going to continue to dominate that, and a lot of their success this season will be centered around whether he does actually come back and play for them, or if they do sell and move on and get themselves a couple of good strikers in before the window. I don't see Forest being the threat that they were last season. I'd be very surprised if that happens, but you never know. I don't think the Premier League last season as a product was very good. I thought it was the worst Premier League season in a long time. I thought quality-wise, injury-wise, availability-wise, it all just contributed to the season not being a good one. I hope this season is better. I do think it's going to be stronger. I do think the big clubs have invested a lot of money this summer and are going to be stronger. Teams like Spurs will be better. They can't be any worse. Teams like United are going to be better. They can't be any worse. I think Chelsea are going to be a real threat this season. They look good. Signed loads of players and they look good. They've got a big squad that they can choose from. I think they'll be very strong this season. So I do think it's going to be a strong season. I think it's going to be a better season. And yes, maybe the relegation fight will be a bit more dramatic than it has been in previous years. But I still think, even though Sunderland has spent a lot of money, I still think Burnley and Sunderland are going to struggle. But I've tipped Brentford to get relegated. So maybe I think this will be the season that we see all three promoted clubs won't go back down again. But thank you very much for that, Marco. We got one from NF7725 here. Other than needing to make some sales before possibly going for Eze or another attacking player, do you think that the lack of impetus might be in some respects because of Dowman after his stellar game-breaking appearance? Maybe Arteta sees a larger role than what we've all been expecting despite his age. Not every game, of course, but specific chosen moments off the bench where his dynamism will create an instant impact. Can't wait for Sunday and the kickoff of what I think will be a highly competitive and exciting season as a whole. I don't think you can factor Dowman into much about your squad planning for this season. I don't think Arsenal and Arteta will be doing that. I think they will use him. I think he will be used, and if he's good enough and if he continues to play the way he does when he comes off the bench, then he'll be used more maybe than we expect him to be used. But I still don't think you can factor him in right now, given his age, given the physicality issues, given the fact that he's still growing, his body's still growing. I'm not sure you can factor him in really, really say, right, this is why we're not going to sign this player because of Max Dowman. I don't think you can do that yet. I think it's too young. There's too many things still to potentially materialise. He's not even signed his first professional contract yet. And we hope that happens, of course, but there's still a chance that someone lures him away and Arsenal can do very little about that. So I don't think you can look too far into the future when it comes to Dowman and really start that progression planning right now. So I don't think signing Eze or not signing Eze would be down to Dowman's progress. I think he's too young to really factor into the equation like that. But I can't wait to see what he does do this season. Really, really can't. Ivan says, thanks for your videos as always, Charles. Now, considering all the various reports over the past few weeks that Eze wants Arsenal, how things have changed. Do you think that someone expressing, as per media reports, that they've dreamed of playing for Arsenal would now simply join Spurs? I don't think it would stop them. No, this is a business. At the end of the day. It's a profession. They want to get to the, what they view as the highest sort of possible part of their profession. And Eze, if he's got Champions League on offer at Spurs this season, just because he's an Arsenal fan, I don't think that will stop him. There's been plenty of Arsenal fans who have gone to Spurs before because they get paid a lot of money. They're a big club. They're going to be in Europe. They're going to be in the Champions League this season. So I don't think that will stop him. I think if Arsenal made an offer and it was right, sign for Arsenal or Tottenham, I think he chooses Arsenal every day of the week. But if Arsenal don't make an offer and Spurs is the only sort of opportunity he's got to move this summer to play Champions League football, then I think he'll take it. I don't think dreaming of playing at Arsenal will stop that, because it is at the end of the day a trade for these players, and they want to play in the biggest competitions. And as much as I dislike Spurs, they are a big club, and so I don't think. I look at Darren Bent, for example, mad Arsenal fan, still went at Spurs. And yeah, there's been countless examples of it happening in the past. Finally, the biggest question of the day from Stumpy Dogs is, how long do we have to wait before you get stuff on the grey wall behind you? What are your thoughts? You're shaming my bare grey wall behind you. How dare you, Stumpy Dog? No, in all honesty, how long do you have to wait? You have to wait basically until I get myself into gear and sort out the room in this new house, which is not this room, this is the sort of dining room, if you can call it that at the moment. But there is a room down that way that is going to be my office, but at the moment is just full of boxes from the move that I haven't cleared yet. I want to paint the room. I need to get a desk in there. I need to do so much stuff. So how long do you have to wait? You have to wait until I get myself into gear. Hopefully not too long, but the fact it is the school holidays and I'm trying to do this, start a new season kicking off. I've got 2 kids in there for the next 4 weeks that I can't send back to school yet. It might take a little bit of time, but it is coming. You won't have to look at these boring grey walls too much longer. Although saying that, the colour I'm painting the office isn't going to be too dissimilar to this, I don't think. But there will be things on the wall for you to look at as well. So yeah, that's the answer to your question, Stumpy Dog. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you for listening. Appreciate your time as always. Remember, Inside Arsenal Patreon members, you will get an extra show later on today. The Arsenal Press Pass to myself, Simon Collins, and Art de Rocha will be joining us from The Athletic this week, as Sam is on paternity leave for the next 6 weeks. So I'm going to have different guests over the next few weeks joining us. So keep your eyes peeled for that show. And if you want to watch that show and you're not a member yet, then as I said at the start, get down into the description, find the Patreon link down there, copy that into your browser, go and sign up, join the community direct through Patreon, and you'll be able to get access to that, other exclusive content, all my regular shows ad-free. And if you do it by Friday, you'll get the chance to enter the FPL League, get chances to win prizes, manager of the month prizes, all that sort of stuff. And there's a shirt giveaway going until Friday as well, so you can enter that one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.